Hello, everyone, and welcome to End to End, the podcast where we talk about all things pony and a few things not. I'm your host, Duhad. Joining me, as always, are the Lightning Rabbit
Hello.
and Firebolt.
I'm sick.
I'm sorry to hear that.
He's
Sorry.
sick.
Cabral, as per usual, is, a 50-50, host on the show at this point, as he was supposed to be here, but apparently, right after I talked to him, he fell back asleep. So,
Great.
Well,
but
she'll be here in like 30 minutes.
probably. But anyway, we're on a little bit of a tight schedule because of today being kind of a busy day. So let's get right into it. Next week we're going to have what as of time of recording. Obviously, this is going to go up a little bit later for you guys, but as of time of recording, we are 2 weeks away from the release of season one of. Sorry, not season one.
Oh my god.
This is we are as of time of recording. We're 2 weeks from the premiere of the fourth season of My Little Pony. This will be going up on Buffalo Lemon Productions with 1 week to go. We're going to take the episode right before the season premieres to talk about our predictions for season 4. But for the time being, we want to go into a slightly different topic, namely that of the hiatus. We've been on hiatus now for a pretty decent amount of time. I think this is actually the longest hiatus the show's ever been on, since season 3 was a half season, leading to a slightly delayed, essentially a couple of weeks being added on to the wait. So in that time, the fandom's kind of, it's been going pretty strong. Don't get me wrong. We've definitely had a lot of, awesome content creation going on, a lot of crazy views, some fan projects that were pretty impressive. We've had conventions that, well, some of them have gone badly. Most of them have gone pretty darn well. Overall,
didn't all the comics come out also in this hiatus?
yeah, I think all of the IDW comics, I think the IDW comics started after the end of season 3. I think. Possibly. Actually, I don't know for certain. We'll look that up. Someone look that up, because if I do it, you're going to hear my keyboard.
Okay. You'll hear mine even more.
Okay, whatever. Point is, while Lightning Rabbit looks that up, I'm just going to say, while we've had this hiatus, we've actually been going pretty darn strong. But, especially as we start getting close to the release of season 4, there's been a general slowing down of things, especially in terms of the content creation side of things, because a lot of people are obviously a little bit worried about, releasing things that are going to just end up being decanonized by season 4's release. I know a lot of writers, I've said this a few times before, but a lot of writers don't want to start a story that begins with Princess Twilight Sparkle was, doing her royal duties in the castle, talking to people and being worshipped as a goddess, only for the beginning of season 4 to begin with, and no one gave a cripe about about the fact that Twilight was now a princess and everything went back to normal. That would be kind of disheartening. So obviously,
that's why all the writers can just go with alternate universe and just do whatever they want with that tag.
True, but the thing is, even with alternate universe, people, who are writing these stories, they want to try and get it as close to the original story as possible, or at least enough so that when, the new season starts up, everyone doesn't just look at them and go, hey, that's not right. Likewise, with bigger projects like games, animations, etc., there's been, the fact that this was released has kind of thrown a bit of a monkey wrench in a lot of people's plans. A lot of people have either had to, throw up their hands and just say, whatever, this is now just something that takes place before season 3 happened, or they have to go back and incorporate Wings onto Twilight. I know that the Tumblr comic, the very, very good Tumblr comic by the creator of Moonstruck, which is Slice of Life, had to have the arts actually had to go back and retroactively add Wings onto every scene with Twilight in it to make up for the fact that she now has those. Because the comic had actually, it has mostly been run during the hiatus, but it started before season 3 ended. So there were, while Twilight wasn't really the main character of the story, there were a number of panels with her that needed to be retroactively changed. Now, obviously, this is kind of sucky for us, and we've definitely been really darn lucky with the comics keeping everybody going strong and with some good stuff coming out from the community that's been pretty darn nice.
Yes.
But even so, things really have slowed down. I kind of wonder what you guys have kind of felt about this hiatus.
Well, I know that it's necessary, obviously, to make the episodes, to have the hiatus. I don't know. I feel like personally the hiatus wasn't actually. It was extended, but I don't think it was too bad. Quite a lot of stuff still came out, and surprisingly, even with that extended period of time, people still managed to remain kind of creative and come up with some really good little bits and pieces of animation and stories and the comics which were official.
Mm.
I think there's been a lot to tide people over.
Well, yes. The thing is that in between shows, that we call it a hiatus now. It used to be called back after season 1 and after season 2 for a little bit. It used to be called a drought.
Well, I never called it
And
that. I never even heard that. I mean, sorry.
that's what I heard when I first entered the fandom, was that they called it a drought.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
they changed it because there's all this fan content that gets put out in between seasons and stuff like that. So now it's just called a hiatus. They're waiting between seasons, but there's still new content being put out. And personally, I don't mind these hiatuses, because the fan content is so good that some of the things that the fans are putting out, I'm looking more forward to than even the show itself.
Mm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'll admit, I actually have a kind of weird reaction to it. I'm actually kind of curious as to both what you two, whether this has affected you two at all, as well as anyone else who, wants to throw down their thoughts in the comment section. Hint, hint, throw down your thoughts in the comment section. Uh, Ever since during the periods of break in between the shows, I kind of go into two modes. I have sort of like two modes when it comes to Pony. There's when the show is running, when I'm seeing new episodes relatively frequently, when I'm actually, hell, even when I'm just going back and rewatching the show, one of the things that I just absolutely adore about it is how nice it is. It's a very nice show. It's, very sweet.
Mm.
Uh, and I dig that. I dig the fact that there isn't, you know, really nasty jokes or, hardcore gore, or any of that crap in there. And that's cool. I like that. And I generally like ones when I'm in the middle of that, when I'm watching the show, when I'm watching the new episodes, when I'm speculating on the new episodes, I don't really have a huge high tolerance for, things that really break from that. I don't really have much of a tolerance for, jokes that are, really like mature, or, story like fan fictions that are really dark, unless they're
Mm.
extremely good, like Fall Equestria. But then as the hiatus has gone on, both from season 2 to season 3, and now season 3, especially from season 3 to season 4, uh, the more I kind of not necessarily lose that, but become a little bit more just sort of like, whatever. Okay, so, sure, you're making a really dark joke about a really sweet innocent show,
Mm.
but whatever, it's funny. I don't care. Okay, sure, that probably is horrifically inappropriate for for a kid show, but whatever. I'm laughing. It's fine.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of like just sort of the more you move away from that source material, and the reason you're originally looking at it for it, the more you're kind of disconnected from that original. I hate dogs. From that original thing that kind of kept you that made you cringe at the
Yeah.
darker stuff.
Yeah. I
Uh,
can see that.
so yeah, like again, I kind of go from two different modes, and over the hiatus, I've slowly shifted more into that, and I'm
Mm.
kind of curious to see what will happen once the series begins again. What
Yeah.
about you two? You ever have that feel that happening or?
Mm.
I tend to separate the two. Like, I don't, when I look at fan fictions and stuff like that, I keep it separate from the actual show itself, because I know that it's two different things.
Yeah.
And that's fair enough. Like,
Oh God.
You might want to sort your microphone out, Head. It sounds like you're talking over an airwave radio.
It sounded like your microphone exploded.
someone's opened the door, which I think probably just was responsible for that.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of gain.
Okay, the door opening. Hold on.
Okay, there we go. That's
Wow. Okay, that's better now.
That'll be fun in editing.
being used.
Now you're very quiet.
Yeah, that's because this is a really terrible microphone that's very low sensitivity.
Okay,
but,
right, that's fine. It's better now.
Yeah,
just yell into the mic.
Yeah, the upside to that is that you aren't hearing wind and cars, so
Yeah.
Yay.
I'd say it's a fair trade-off.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, so what was saying though was, but do you ever? I know that you separate, and I like obviously we all do to an extent. But the thing is, do you find it easier to separate the two, in your head when you haven't been, watching the source material as frequently? Like, do you find it easier to go like, okay, that's horrifying, but whatever, it's fine because I'm not really associating it with the character as much, like as directly with the character.
Well, even when I'm watching the show, I used to literally watch over and over and again, when I was first introduced to the show, and even going into the fan projects and watching the show at the same time, it's easy for me to distinguish between the two and not worry about. Okay, well, reading this fanfic is not going to destroy my image of this character in the show because I know it's not related to the show.
Fair enough. Lightning Rabbit?
I don't know. I kind of feel like I don't really have a problem. In fact, I don't really think I'll have to observe my own actions during season 4 because I don't remember whether I actually look at that much fan-made stuff unless it's an animation or something like that. I don't tend to look at as much fan-made stuff just because the show is there. And if I do, it doesn't really register that it's this. I see it as something completely different to the actual show, so it doesn't really affect it for me.
Fair enough. Though, yeah, that may be for you guys. Though I'm curious to see what the people in the comments end up saying because I want to see what your guys' reaction is. I'll just point out here's an example though of what I'm talking about, just to clarify real quick. When watching, and this is one like if you want to play, for those of you playing at home, if you watched or read, let's say Cupcakes, or Cupcakes HD, the Mr. Davies animation.
Yeah.
I will tell you that when I first watched that, which was when I think it was during season 3. I couldn't sit through the whole thing. Like I found it so, horrific that I had to stop watching it. And like going, oh God, no. And more recently, I rewatched it, late into the hiatus, and basically just like, that's silly. That music is amusingly it is amusingly off-putting with the imagery on screen.
It's mismatched with the horrible violence.
I am enjoying this the way it was intended to be enjoyed. But I was doing it in a way that I wouldn't have been able to while I was right in the middle of the thing where I was like, no, Zero Dash, no, Pinky, no. So, I don't know. If I'm alone in that, then whatever. But if anyone in the comment sections was like, oh man, yeah, I totally relate to that, put it down, you know where. Anyway, the other thing we want to go into, and this might end up being kind of a short episode, but that's fine. We've got a couple of big ones planned for the next 2 weeks. We've had a big old break. And admittedly, as we've said a few times, we've had a lot of really good stuff tying us over. But what happens when it stops? When they say, okay, this is the actual proper finale,
Mm.
Officially,
This is the end.
Gen 4 is over.
Hold your breath and count to 10. Um, yeah, I'm actually. This is one that I've put a lot of thought into recently after I had a discussion with someone. And I haven't really come to a conclusion myself yet because I don't really think I've seen every single part of the fan base in enough detail. But the options that I see in my mind are that the fan base will kind of because whereas say the anime community, you might be interested in multiple different anime shows. MLP, the fan base is all based around one core subject. So if that's taken away, either the fan base will completely stagnate and everyone will leave it because there's no new ideas from the creators being put in to influence people's kind of creative talent, or it will make them more creative to try and substitute something else for the show, and they'll make their own animated show out of it and stuff like that.
And I keep on wondering about this because I don't know the process that goes into this. If the show stopped, our fan base is definitely talented enough if you get the right set of people to continue it themselves if they really wanted to. But I don't know how that works with Hasbro and buying the rights to My Little Pony and stuff like that, or and how any of that works.
I think it actually could come into an interesting thing where basically Hasbro is fine as long as they end out, their bottom line ends up working out for them. And the thing is, a way that they would be fine with people still making fan content is if they continue to sell Gen 4 style as as a product line, not necessarily as a show, but as a line of products. If they were still selling that and the fan content was still essentially working as free advertising for something that they were selling, that would, I think, put them in a position where they'd be fine with people doing that because again, it's free advertising, it's free money. And that is a situation that I could see that working for them. And if it's working for them, they're not going to mess around with it. I also see the comics potentially continuing past the end of the show because the thing is the comics are amazingly less expensive to produce.
Well, yeah.
They are
and a lot quicker as well.
Yeah, they're faster, they're easier. Okay, I don't want to say that because I've met with the comic creators. They're really, really awesome people, and their job is insanely hard. But it's not, the same as producing an expensive, television series.
Right.
So obviously, there's less of a financial risk for the company when they're working with that, and I can kind of see them, especially if they think there's still money in it, going, okay, we're totally willing to put in the smaller amount of money to keep on creating these rather than just ending it along with the television series. Now, yeah, so basically I think that would still continue. My thing is, the thing I actually think would be kind of interesting is, not necessarily that is would be interesting, but that is kind of interesting is the fact that as Lightning Rabbit, you said, anime communities will have they'll jump from show to show. But something that allows them to do that is this idea of the creative staff on this project are now working on this project. Let's check out that project. But the thing is, before I would have said, okay, that's fine. That'll probably happen. Except we've seen an example of that, and it didn't happen. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
I'm pretty sure, yes.
Yeah.
Oops.
You want to,
Are we going with Littlest Pet Shop? Is that the correct answer?
That would be the correct answer.
Yay.
Yeah. So the thing is, we saw that. We saw the same writers, the same animators, the same voice actors, the same musicians, the same everything that, again, as we said in the very first episode of the show, it was them trying to, bottle lightning. It was them trying to get the same result by perfectly copying the formula with one exception, and that's that they didn't have Faust. And let's face it, if they were to make another generation, if they were to do a 4.5 or a 4 again, 4 again but with a new cast and stuff, they probably wouldn't have Faust.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, unless they were willing to bend over backwards to rebuild bridges with her, I kind of don't see them ending up in a creative partnership again.
Now, the question is that do they need Faust to make the same type of
No.
quality?
I don't think so, but I think they do need Faust to get that bump of people to start checking out the new thing. Because Pet Shop had it was basically everything that ML had, except for Faust. Pretty much just like
there's some people that really like Littlest Pet Shop.
oh, there are hell,
and I haven't actually checked it out myself, but
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd enjoy it or not.
Yeah, we had Peter New on here, and he works on the show, and he said that he loves working on it, and that it's a great show, and I'm inclined to believe him. But the thing is, people like even with him saying like he got an award for his performance on the show. One of the other voice actresses got an award for their work on the show. It's gotten it's respected, it's liked, it's got credibility. It doesn't have Faust, and it doesn't have the fan base.
Now, is it because of Faust that they don't have the fan base, or is it because it's
honestly
not My Little Pony?
You need to kind of understand that it was her name on the project that originally got a lot of the buzz, both in terms of people being big fans of her work from before, and with obviously like the article that kind of spurred on 4chan to start really looking into it, which was essentially someone saying Lauren Faust is working on this thing. It is the end of the creator-driven era of animation. Her reputation and people using her reputation to slam the thing early on was a big part of the initial bump that made it work. And without that, that is really important. Getting that initial bump, getting that that hype, getting that energy.
Yeah.
That's really, really important. You can have the best show in the world, and if it doesn't have that, kick in the pants to, really push it into being something bigger than, people expect it to be, it's not going to snowball into the giant that this one has. So yeah, I'm gonna say that Faust is like having Faust is important. Like if they get someone else, if they get Andrew Tartakovsky or someone else like that, then okay, then you got something going on. You got another big name who could give you the bump you need. But you need that bump.
Yeah, definitely. Right, it's basically what all of you guys have just said. Basically, is that it's kind of the proof. Like, I don't really know what it was. It's just it doesn't seem to work ever. Like I know Lauren Faust has gone on to do a different show now, and I don't know what it's called, but I don't know whether anyone actually went over from the MLP fandom to watch it.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like her own projects haven't really done as well.
So it's like MLP was a weird exception to this rule, and everyone seems to like it, but things aside from it.
Yeah, it needs kind of a couple of different things, but I'm just saying that like
yeah,
Faust is a little bit like a tinderbox. You can't start a fire just with flint and tinder, but you also can't start a fire with just a pile of dry brush.
Yeah.
You need fuel and you need a spark.
You need that triangle of air, fuel, and heat.
Yeah. And the thing is, if Pet Shop was all fuel, no heat.
Yeah.
And if they did another program, unless it was just like 4.5, it would almost certainly run into the all fuel no heat problem.
Yeah. They could use the heat from the CEO's mouths. Hot air. Okay, less of that.
That was yeah, that was embarrassing.
I don't know. I quite liked it.
I'm embarrassed to be on the same show as you right now.
Okay.
All of my loathing, all of it.
Oh no. He hates
no,
me
but
now.
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna switch because we no longer actually that door is closed and there's no longer. Let me just quickly See if I can switch over the microphone.
Oh god.
Oh dear lord.
Oh god.
Oh, it's bad.
So much
It's
peeking on
very,
the
very bad.
microphone.
Jesus Christ, what the hell is going on with this thing right now?
Oh, I'm gonna have fun putting sound effect, video effects to that.
Jesus, what the heck is going on here?
Oh dear me.
I'm gonna have to figure that out in a little bit. Anyway, we're running low on the amount of time we actually have available this week.
Well, there's one more thing I did want to go over pertinent to this topic, which is just how long does it take, and what constitutes a show being canceled? How long can we expect My Little Pony to go on for? Because it's still a huge moneymaker for.
It's
I
very
was gonna
dependent.
say it. Among other things, I'd say it depends how much money it makes for the company. If it's bringing in loads and loads of people who weren't originally thought to be the demographic.
It's bringing enough money at this point that that the company isn't going to necessarily cancel it out of, just sort of like, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
What it could be canceled by is a writer revolt. The voice actresses essentially going like, look, we've been working on the show for X number of years.
Yeah.
We want to do other things. We're moving on.
Right.
Or like a disastrously bad season driving away a large portion of the fan base. And
I don't believe the writers could possibly do that, though. I have a lot of faith in the writers.
You'd be surprised. Larson quit. Larson quit 4. Yeah, he's no longer on the project. Like he said he might come back for 5, but he quit because he's tired of doing the same show for 4 straight years.
Yeah, which I can understand.
So how does something like The Simpsons go on for 20 years?
Pretty much the writers and show creators and stuff essentially just like, I think like the thing was like for like 12 years they were just sort of like just crazy energy, which is part of why the show was so good and why people liked it so much.
Yeah.
And then after that, it sort of got to this point where it was a little bit like the prison, inmate thing, where you get to the point where you keep on going, not because you necessarily want to keep on going, but because you've been doing it for so long that you literally cannot conceive of what you would do with yourself if you weren't doing this thing.
Yeah.
Because seriously, I'm not even joking. The thing is, like, The Simpsons still makes enough money that the show's gonna keep on going. But at this point, if you like listen to interviews with like the writers and voice actors and stuff, they're kind of at this point where they're just sort of like, the hell are we gonna do afterwards? We're the Simpsons guys,
Yeah.
We did Futurama. We really enjoyed doing Futurama, but the thing is, like, unless we're doing something like that, we're not really, like, we're overqualified for smaller jobs. But we're
is it also possible for the show to be canceled and then come back?
It is, if the creators of the show really want it to come back and they end up getting a lot of support for it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, honestly, at this point, the only way I could see it getting canceled, because of how much money it's making, it would either have to be the creative staff or the fan base turning against it, and it's the creative staff and fan base working together that brings the show back.
Yeah.
By proving to the suits that there is still money and people willing to do it.
Well, I think that's the thing, is that things can influence each other. So say you have a revolt of writers. Well, that's not the complete end of the world, because Hasbro will be like, well, we'll get more writers in. But the thing is that if the writers don't do a good job, then that'll drive away the fan base.
Yeah,
and
they keep on adding more and more writers. There's actually a lot of writers on season 4, and I think there was an EQD post about it. And there's several writers on season 4.
This is the thing: like, if the new writers are good, then that's great. Then we have almost guaranteed season 5. If the new writers are not good, if like M.A. Larson and Lauren Faust no longer being part of the project actually, makes things like really hurts the show, that could result in enough people leaving and not, getting involved enough that bigger names on the project would essentially just go like, well, okay, whatever, I can quit now, it's fine.
But remember that also that we have first of all, Amy Keaton Rogers came back.
Yeah,
she's on season 4.
I think the people we have are good enough. I'm not saying I think we're going to lose these people, because we have Amy Keaton Rogers back. We have Megan McCarthy writing, and she's a very solid writer.
Well, and Megan McCarthy's the lead writer, so everything written by the other authors also goes through her.
Yeah, though, yeah, she also, that doesn't necessarily stop bad episodes from going through,
Yeah.
but it does mean that we have a better chance of having good ones.
Also
Right.
Yeah,
doesn't mean that she wouldn't quit.
Yeah,
And
McCarthy. Yeah,
also when you hear them talk about it, they're all really excited about season 4.
Yeah,
They say season 4 is really good.
yeah, they do seem to be encouraging, and I'm not saying that season 4 is going to be where everything falls apart. What I'm saying is, if it falls apart, it's going to be because of something along the lines of new writers coming in, the writers being shit, and then the show falling apart because people aren't liking the new material. The show writers are getting disheartened by everyone saying that they suck. Hasbro seeing their bottom line drop as people stop buying merchandise because they're no longer fans of the show, and that all spiraling out of control until the show dies. That's how the show would die if you're talking about the show getting canceled.
Right.
I'm not saying that's going to happen in season 4. I'm not saying that's going to happen in season 5. But I'm saying that if it happens, it's probably going to be either that or, something happening where like if we get into like season 7 and Tara Strong and, Tabitha St. Germain and Andrea Libman and Ashley Ball basically just say, you know what? We're done.
Yeah, if the voice actors leave, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, and that is a distinct. Like the thing is, that is something that will happen. Like individual character. Like I could totally see season. Like I think Tara Strong has got enough into this that she probably wouldn't be the first one to go. But like I could see season 5 having like Tabitha St. Germain just go like, I've had a lot of fun, but I don't want to keep on working on this project. And then the character of Rarity either being recast with a new voice actress or being written out of the show in some way. And that resulting in, I don't think that wouldn't be enough to kill the show, but it might be enough to, start putting.
It'll definitely hurt it.
Yeah. Now, again, this is all getting super depressing, and we're going to come back next week with a much more happy show. But if you're going to talk about how the show might end, those are my 2 predictions. It would either be, bad episodes leading to, fan disinterest and, the show spiraling downhill from there, or the voice actresses who have really just made this show, what it is, deciding that they've had enough and leaving one by one.
So would it be possible? Would Hasbro take a leap of faith and not necessarily cancel the entire project, but let's say transform it, and they started to do a spin-off of
That would be what
an Equestria Girls entire series?
Okay, well, I'm thinking they're going to do an Equestria Girls series either way because that made them cripe loads of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's probably something that's going to happen regardless of.
They'd probably make a spin-off, but I don't think they replace the original with it.
Here's the thing: if they do a spin-off to replace LP, it's probably going to be like unless they make the spin-off because the show has stopped being profitable. Like if it's because of like the voice actors is leaving or the writers leaving, it's going to be 4.5. Like it'll almost certainly be 4.5. What 4.5 will be, I don't know. It probably will not be 3.5. God help us all. It will probably be something along the lines of a 4.5, a retooling.
Yeah.
New characters.
It's basically it would be the knock-on effect of the show being cancelled. So if it wasn't being profitable anymore, they'd say, right, well, we're cancelling that, but we'll make a spin-off of it, and hopefully people will watch that instead and be like, oh, maybe this is good.
Yeah, like they do something like they might do something with the with like recasting all the characters and maybe like restarting the story from the beginning, or maybe they do something with like the CMC voiced by different voice actresses as older characters with a bunch of new characters to fill out the cast, or just same basic universe but retooled with a full new cast that with no real strong connections to the original series except for a couple of winking references for the older fans. And that would be 4.5.
Yeah.
But
who's to say how many series we're going to get before that happens? Because, everything will come to an end eventually, not to sound depressing. But, it's just, at the moment, it still seems to be going strong in terms of, like, merchandise, all that sort of thing. It could realistically go on for quite a few more seasons.
And of course, the thing with new content coming out is the potential for new stuff. Like we're gonna get not only more content, but we're gonna get more merchandise and stuff like that. And so with new seasons, you almost expect Hasbro's sales to go up when the new season starts.
Yeah, because there'll be more
Yeah,
stuff for people to buy.
It's entirely possible. I think as a sign to end off on, because we are out of time for what we have for this week. But as an end off on EQD recently, they posted something saying that the largest number of fans that they had polled for the show were right after the end of season 2. That the finale of season 2, with how good that was, and with how good the first 2 seasons had been, mobilized and expanded the fan base to a level that it had not reached before and has not quite reached again since.
Yeah.
3, as much as I don't have a problem with it, it is definitely not the best. I think most people will agree that it's not the best of the 3 seasons.
Wait, which one was
That's
this? Season 2 or season 3?
3, not 2. 2 is generally like 1.
Yeah, usually 2 is considered the best.
Yeah, and 2, the finale of 2 was when the fandom was at its largest.
Yeah, I do like the musical numbers in 3 at the end, though.
Say what you will about individual episodes from 3, a lot of people liked them, a lot of people didn't.
Yeah.
But 3 was polarizing, and 3 had what are probably the least strong opener and finale. Some people will disagree, but general broad opinion is they were probably the least liked intro and outro. Candlelight Way was probably the strongest intro, and season 2 probably had the strongest intro and outro, and season 1 had very strong intros and outros.
Yeah.
But season 3 had probably the weakest, and it was also very short. Here's
wondering
that season 4, breaks that trend, and instead, and we can go back to season 2's levels of really strong intro, really strong outro, fandom breaking season 2 records.
I think they needed to do certain things in season 3 to get ready for like Equestria Girls in season 4, and I think that they had to do that in a short time frame, and so they weren't able to get it to where they wanted.
There was also the fact that season 3 was around the point where Little Pet Shop started, and a bunch of writers had to pull double duty on both shows.
Yeah. By the way, just quickly, does anyone think that the fan base has actually decreased in size since season 2? Then, because that was when it was at its largest.
I don't believe so.
Yeah, it actually has.
Really?
Yeah. It hasn't shrunk by really hardcore noticeable levels, but it has not. The fan polls show that the largest number of active fans were around after the end of season 2, and we haven't hit those same levels since.
I mean, active fans, people didn't just leave the fandom. You know what I mean? It's like
there were a lot of people who did just basically go okay, we're done now with this thing. If you look on a lot of the sites that had existed, then there are a lot of people who were moderators and stuff who essentially went after season 2 or near the beginning of season 3 to sort of went it's been fun, it's been awesome, but I'm kind of moving on.
Yeah, I want to do something else now. Yeah. Which is reasonable. So you say it's not a massively noticeable level, but it definitely went down a bit.
Enough, but it wasn't like the fandom died after that point, but it is that the numbers are always fluctuating, going up and down. But the highest point was the end of season 2, and we have not hit that high again. Yeah. And that means we've not remained at that high, or else I'd be saying we have not risen since then.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it depends on who voted in the poll and stuff like that. But,
but we're talking about active participation.
Yeah, realistically, it probably went down, not just because the same people didn't do the poll.
There were less people who'd be willing to go ahead and take the polls.
And that means that they weren't as active.
The sites, so the numbers are lower. There might still be a ton of people who would keep on watching the show and stuff, but less people were
actively involved.
Yeah. Being as active.
Okay.
But again, season 4, it's coming up.
Let's see what happens.
Because hopefully this is going to be great, and we will be on next week to talk about how hyped and excited and just generally awesome we're feeling about that.
All aboard the hype train.
Everybody on board the hype train.
Yay.
So talk to you guys next time.
Goodbye.
See ya.